Alex Wilk. You'll get no sympathy from me. I'm your host of the Treehouse Podcast, and with me, as always, is the incredible Gregg Yasuda, our co-host. He fights for his friends, and Nate Fuentes, as usual. Prepare yourself. It's another episode of the SLO Treehouse Podcast. All right, for those that are unfamiliar to the show, this is a semi-regular podcast that works as a sort of after-hours, the unofficial APO-ZO podcast, where we pretty much chat about whatever we want. We discuss everything sort of sci-fi, nerd-related. We're all huge fans of various sorts of entertainment. So let's dive right into it, shall we? All right, so I believe the first interest topic, because we didn't really cover a lot of it last week, or last episode that you guys, if anyone tuned in, which we're hoping there's a few of you, we discussed a lot of Comic-Con stuff, a lot of cool TV shows, a lot of good movies that were coming up, but we didn't cover a lot of anime. So, our resident expert on anime, Nate Fuentes, was hoping to bring up a few things. Nate, how you doing today?
Oh, it's pretty good. I'm not
Awesome.
very much of an expert anymore, but yeah, there are a few that I'd recommend just over the course of what I've watched recently. So.
All right, cool. Well, I am a little bit out of the loop too, so go ahead and get us started.
All right, so here's a little wee breakdown for some people. There are 3 shows that I'd like to recommend just from what I've seen recently. One, I saw this kind of in like January, February-ish, so I'm a little bit fuzzy on like the specifics of this show, but the show's called Zankyou no Terror, and that's Zankyu, no, and literally terror. It's a show that kind of revolves around 2 like individuals. Their names are 9 and 12. They form this sort of terrorist organization, hence the name Terror.
Cool.
It's actually pretty cool because like the first episode, you literally don't feel like you're watching an anime at all. Like it kind of seems like you're watching something like 24 or just any sort of like just crime drama or something like that. It's really kind of interesting, and I just know it ended really like poetically, just because it's like it's really psychological. It's kind of it's sort of dark. Like they're a terrorist organization. Obviously, they're trying to get themselves sort of known. They're trying to bring something to light, and there's a cop chasing them. This is a very, very generic breakdown of this, but yeah, I'd highly recommend it. Yeah, just because it's like it's very, very different from a lot of anime that I've seen, and it really just doesn't feel like an anime up until maybe a little bit of the middle. But yeah, that one's pretty cool. For another sort of anime, like on a very different sort of tone, there's, for anybody who likes classical music or piano or violin, there's Shigatsu wa Kimi no Uso. This one kind of ended sometime in March. It's actually, like I said, it's an anime about a kid who, like, during his childhood was like a child prodigy at piano. And I kind of, in one way or two, kind of relate to this anime, as in I guess any Asian child who plays music had maybe like their mom or parent just kind of hounding them to practice and just be the best. Well, this anime is kind of like that, where the main character, he's just really, really good at piano, and his mom just like overly kind of just tells him to be the best, and she dies, and then that kind of sends him into a loop of where he doesn't know what to do with music until he meets this girl who plays violin. And yeah, and it's also aptly kind of nicknamed Feelgatsu, because yeah, this show like takes you on a friggin' emotional roller coaster, and by the end of it, like it's beautifully done, but it also is just like, holy shit, it hits you in the feels real bad. And
Wow.
yeah, and the last one, I'm sure a lot of people know about this series, Fate Stay Night.
Oh, I have heard of that.
This one,
I haven't watched
yeah,
it.
it's really good. Like, I mean, I was definitely late to this whole sort of party. But for those who don't know, Fate Zero, which is the kind of prequel to Fate Stay Night, it's on Netflix. This is the only reason why I ended up like actually picking this up because I was surfing Netflix and I was like, oh shit, Fate Zero's right here. So yeah, Fate. The whole general sort of what Fate is basically throughout generations there's been a fight for the Holy Grail, and seven masters.
The original European Holy Grail, or just a...
Yeah. It's
Oh,
actually
okay,
like
cool.
European, like the Holy Grail. Like, so what happens like over the course of years is seven masters are chosen, and with that, each of those masters are they summon a servant. So seven masters, seven servants, and they all represent different classes. It's like saber, assassin, berserker, archer, lancer, caster, and what was the last one? Anyway,
Rogue?
I can look this up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they fight this Holy Grail war, and until obviously there's one left, and yeah, so the most recent arc, Unlimited Blade Works, kind of ended in June, so this is why I thought, oh shoot, I can just pick this up. But really, you're supposed to watch Fate Zero, both seasons, and then Fate Stay Night, and then Fate Unlimited Blade Works, and then there's a new movie coming out which is called Fate Stay and Heaven's Feel. So it's like Fate Stay Night's actually broken up into three different things, which I didn't know. Complete noob, but yeah.
This is much more of a bigger recommendation than I thought. I thought it was just a one sort of stop series, but this is a very, very long ongoing show, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think, just currently the episodes that are out, it's somewhere around 80. Like, I mean, it's not as much as your, like, standard, like, Naruto or One Piece or Fairy Tail or Bleach. I don't know.
No,
but
Bleach has been going on for, I think, way too long.
Yeah, I don't watch any of those, but, like, yeah, so it's not as long, but I definitely think it's pretty quality, especially since the heroes are like summoned from like several different era, like for example, there's like the hero like Gilgamesh of like Mesopotamia. I think it's Mesopotamia. Like he's one of the summoned servants, and obviously the main character that everybody who has heard of Fate knows of, King Arthur, who's actually a chick, and she's Saber. Yeah, King Arthur gets summoned, and King Arthur is a chick named Saber. Well,
I did not see that coming.
Yeah,
but I mean, wait. So are they drawing people from different time periods? Because Gilgamesh, I am actually familiar with. He was supposed to be a spawn of Hercules and two other people. Yes, you heard that right. He has three parents.
Yeah.
But he is from a long further age than the Middle Ages England for King Arthur, which is a female, that's weird too. So are these just people coming from different points of time or reference, or what's going on in that regard?
So they're basically like heroic spirits that can be summoned from, like, generally speaking, any time period. Like they could be summoned like from eras prior to that current day, or they could even be.
This sounds like Shaman King.
Yeah, like I mean, from what I remember about
Shaman King was a good show.
Yeah, I forget what specifically. Like, I think Shaman King was like more Japanese era like summons, but I could be completely wrong. I don't remember.
Yeah, well, whatever the case. Moving right along. I believe Nate had another point for video games, but let's save that for the secondary discussion. Yeah. Let's hit up some movies, if that's cool with everybody else.
That works.
Gregg, in his usual on top of it, has been up to the latest and greatest cool things. I have not seen Mission Impossible 5, but you have.
I have.
Excellent. How was it?
It was okay. It's like a scale of 1 to 10. I'd give it a 7, maybe an 8. It's fun. I mean, I'm always like skeptical of what Tom Cruise does all the time, and I don't know why. I think it's because of like his reputation from, I guess, back in the early 2000s or whatever. It's a good action movie. I think it's falling into some patterns that I'm not excited about, and I could easily see them doing the same kind of plot for the next movie. It's the whole, the team's been disavowed, so we're on our own, so we have to do things off the books and be dangerous and stuff. So it's solid. I mean, I don't know if I'd pay like full price for it, but I don't think you should see it in 3D. There's no like big like action scenes like there was in the previous movie where he was on climbing that building in Dubai or whatever. So yeah, I mean,
Seen him out of the airplane or Simon Pegg doing some crazy stuff.
I mean, like that whole thing where he's hanging on the side of the airplane. That's like the first scene in the movie. I don't think that's a spoiler at all. You see it in the trailer. It's like the opening scene in the movie. It's. I just know that I was reading a lot leading up to this movie, and I saw all the set photos, and Tom Cruise is a crazy person because he really did that stunt, and it's incredible. But I mean, I want to say it goes all downhill from there, but it's a solid movie. It's not bad. It doesn't do anything incredible, but yeah.
It's kind of hard to do anything really different after the fifth movie with the same actors and the same sort of basic theme. I haven't seen any of them. Huh?
I think Brad Bird did some incredible things with the fourth movie and kind of, I think, re-energized it. That or it was like the biggest surprise that just because, I don't know. I also think that film's numbers are inflated because I remember they showed a preview for The Dark Knight Rises before that movie. So I feel like that was a big reason why people went to go see that too. Anyways.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Cool. So I will probably not be checking it out. I will follow your advice and do what I did with the rest of the Mission Possibles. That is to say, wait for them to come and watch them in the comfort of my own home.
There you go.
All right. On to the next movie. This other movie I actually have been vaguely interested in because I am a big fan of boxing. But Southpaw has opened with some lackluster reviews. Some people say it's sort of a bland, sort of typical, hits the sort of basic notes for a action sports movie. What was your take from it, Gregg?
That's exactly. I think they nailed it. I mean, I didn't hate it. I know that it didn't get the best ratings, but I wouldn't rate it nearly as harshly as people have been. It's his motivation. You see it in the trailer. He's like a champion. His wife is killed in an accident where he's confronting the number one contender. So then his life falls apart, and the whole movie's him trying to build himself back up. I get it. I think the motivation's kind of stupid, but it's really inconsequential. It's kind of just a plot device. Wow, I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Is it better?
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah. All right.
So he goes through this series of his original like technique in the movie is that he is like Rocky pretty much, and he just takes a bunch of punches, and then he teams up with a new trainer and all this stuff and yada yada yada. So I mean, it's good. It's the last movie that the late James Horner did the music for.
All right.
And so the music's pretty good. I think some of the Eminem soundtracks are kind of shoved in your face a little too much, but those are good songs too. But I think it's in the same thing I was saying with Mission Impossible. It's good. I don't know if you want to go out and go see it necessarily, but it is pretty solid. I think some of the performances are really good, but once again, it's solid sports boxing movie. It doesn't do anything extraordinarily different in that way.
All right, fair enough. So it's maybe another movie that you wait to see it at home, or would you recommend seeing it in theaters?
There's nothing huge like in terms of like cinematography or anything, so I think you can wait for it to get when it comes to Netflix or whatever the hell.
At least he
Yeah.
looked better than he did in Nightcrawler. Just because in
Oh,
Nightcrawler he looked hella creepy, greasy looking. But
Yeah, he really got in shape for this movie, and I don't know, it's incredible. But I thought the bigger thing here was that whole news of 50 Cent declaring bankruptcy, like was really close to the release of this movie, and seeing 50 Cent be the guy who handles Jake Gyllenhaal's money in the movie is just hilarious.
Irony.
that
There's
is
like a
to be. Oh,
there's a meta story in that whole thing, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
It's just like all the proceeds from that movie, or like all the money that he got from that movie, basically went to the IRS. Just
Pretty much. Anyways, I think that's my rundown of movies. I haven't seen too much of anything else.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't seen anything other than Antman, which I thought was excellent. Highly recommend people seeing it in theaters. Didn't see it in 3D, so I don't know if that added anything to it. But 2D was pretty impressive. I love the cameos and a lot of very funny things. I don't know if you caught this, Gregg, and this was pretty darn obscure, but there was a cameo appearance from an SNL actor back in the old times of Saturday Night Live with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. The actor whose name is currently slipping my mind played the first ever TV appearance of Antman on film, and hanging out with other superheroes, and they promptly all just made fun of him, which was incredibly funny. But that actor, who I am going to look up right now so I don't sound like a raving lunatic, there you go. Is it Chris Farley?
Chris Farley's totally dead.
No, it's not Chris Farley. What? No.
Yeah, joke.
Stop it, Nate.
R.I.P. We should respect the dead. I'm sorry. I'm going to hell.
Oh, yeah. Maybe,
Farley's gonna
I
haunt your
guess.
dreams.
Chris Farley's gonna replay
God.
Black Sheep.
Oh,
in
good
my
God.
dreams.
That would be pretty awful. Let's see. Garrett Morris. Garrett Morris was the man who portrayed Ant-Man, and he made an appearance in the Ant-Man movie. It was a small appearance. I liked it, and but that was pretty funny for me. Can't really add much to the comments that you already commented on, Gregg, from the last time we talked about it. So we'll just move right along on to video games. Another fun and good, I wouldn't call it waste of time, investment of time. How about that? So, the crazed sensation that's been sweeping the internet nation, Five Nights at Freddy's, or I think it's the fourth Five Nights at Freddy's, or whatever the acronym is. For those of you unfamiliar with this game, I've never actually played it myself, but I have watched other people play it, which seems to be a big thrill in that too. It's basically a Chuck E. Cheese murder simulator, as far as I understand it, where the protagonist, that's you, hangs out at a very, very creepy children's pizza parlor where the stuffed animals are hell-bent on killing you and ripping. Yeah. So it's basically if Chuck E. Cheese crossed with Freddy Krueger, I think would be a fair way of saying that. Nate, what have you played the latest version of this game?
Yeah,
I
mean,
believe, right?
In general, yeah, I've played like a little bit of each of them. I've mainly kind of just watched like people on YouTube, specifically Markiplier, play through it, just because I really, really like the story of Five Nights at Freddy's. It's actually a very like macabre sort of creepy story involving because each of the animatronics you kind of find out are possessed by the spirits of like dead children who were actually murdered in previous restaurants, or it's the continuity of kind of jumps around between the games. Like the first game starts in the third restaurant, the second game starts in the restaurant prior to that one, the third game it jumps after the first game, and now this fourth game it just throws it into a sort of loop even more. It's actually a prequel to all of them. It's it actually does a really, really good job of kind of embodying all the fears that you had like as a kid, because you actually play as a kid in his room, where the animatronics are coming to the child's room to come give him a nice hug or something. But yeah.
Yes. That's
Pretty.
That does sound pretty horrifying for any child, especially ones who are unpleasantly disturbed by the creepy, unceasing smiles of mascot characters such as Mickey Mouse. Anyway, yes.
This one.
Oh, good lord!
Legitimately scary. Like, I mean, it's kind of just like it's more audio based to where you're kind of just listening. Yeah, like again, you're a child listening to the sounds of your house, and all there is darkness. You turn on a flashlight, and there's a spooky animatronic just staring at you. So, yeah, pretty cool. But I'm kind of interested to see like what the end sort of, because as far as what's come out in terms of the lore, like it hasn't really actually discussed what happened to like this kid, or why you're playing as this kid. So.
Well, it's I'm not gonna. Well, we'll see if this is correct or not. But spoilers, he'll probably end up being the spirit that possesses all of the others, or something like that. But who knows?
Yeah.
All right, so I guess, would you recommend it, in your humble opinion, to people who are a bit more skittish?
Yeah, I definitely think, like, just from what I've played, like, I really like scary games in general, and yeah, like, I'd recommend it. It's just my only kind of gripe regarding this fourth game is the fact that the creator decided to throw it for a loop, and also says that there's going to be more content for this game later this year, like in the form of DLC. So it's kind of like,
whoa,
you're not fucking.
They're doing DLC for Five Nights at Freddy's. Good lord,
Yeah.
This is a game that is based entirely on jump scares.
Yeah. So yes,
wow.
I'm all for a good story, but like this fourth game kind of like in a way is convoluting and just throwing in a lot of elements that are kind of just putting a lot more questions rather than closing it out. Which, from a marketing, or maybe just because he wants to keep going, that's fine. But I hope he kind of ends it. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of ending it, I think that's about enough with the Five Nights at Freddy's. Well, Freddy and his horrifying pizza companions will have to be put to rest for another time. All right, on to slightly more pleasant games. Let's talk about... Gregg, what have you been up to?
I've been playing Journey. Well, I did play Journey. I played it through once, and I'm going to do a second playthrough another time. Journey came out, I want to say 2 years ago on the PS3, and it recently got re-released on the PS4. And I didn't own a PS3 last generation, so this is my first chance playing it, and to my knowledge, the game 2 years ago was up for Game of the Year, despite it being only about 2 hours. Yeah.
It's apparently very short.
It's an experience. It's definitely just like an experience game where like you're going through the motions of everything, but it's telling the story of like kind of how this civilization kind of slowly fell apart or whatever, and it tells you there's no audio. Well, there's audio. It's just music, but the thing about
there's
it
no
is
dialogue.
There's no dialogue. Yeah, I can't explain it. It's definitely something you have to do for yourself, but it's really powerful, the message that it has, and I don't know why, but like at the end of it, I was almost in tears, just like listening to the music and what was going on with the character you're playing and everything. It's a beautiful game, beautiful artwork, and the way it's designed. But I don't know where it fits into video games, because we're getting a lot more of these experiences where you don't necessarily have to have a whole lot of skill involved. It's more of a puzzle solving kind of thing, and it's kind of more in the line of the puzzles from Grim Fandango and Secret of Monkey Island and Myst. I don't remember that.
Yeah. Oh, Myst. Yeah, I know Myst.
It's kind of like that, and you're puzzle solving and everything. So I don't know. I recommend it if you get the chance to play it.
Cool. I will definitely have to look that up. Retro games are pretty awesome. I've heard it's been compared to things like Shadow of the Colossus and
Kinda, yeah.
And what's that other game that I'm thinking of that's similar, that was also like Shadow of the Colossus? Same production crew and everything. Can't recall.
Eco?
You have Echo, or Eco? It's Eco, I think. Yes, Eco, yes.
Yeah, Eco.
Cool. Those were excellent games, which I believe are also going to be re-released soon, and I will probably be replaying them because I haven't played them forever, and they are awesome games. But,
Speaking of re-release, yeah, Final Fantasy VII too. Get hype.
Oh yeah,
Another
that's
3 years. Whatever period of time.
We are not seeing that game till like 2019. I guarantee.
Yeah, the very soonest. Yeah.
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 Well, at least it's in production.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm gonna
Theoretically.
go on a sidebar. I have no idea what Square Enix is doing.
Yeah, I just want my goddamn Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, where is that?
You're not gonna see that until like 2017.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Final Fantasy 15 had that demo or whatever, and I played it because, like, what did I do? I had to buy Type 0, which I still haven't finished, and then I got the demo for 15, and it's okay. It's not bad, but they're saying, like, well, first of all, they patched it, and they're patching a demo, and that makes no sense to me at all. And then they said that might not have been part of the game at all, so I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just want to play with my Disney characters and finish that story that I started in my childhood. That's all I want.
Do you think that there will be Star Wars in Kingdom Hearts 3?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, there's gonna be Star Wars. Deadpool's gonna be in this Disney thing somehow. They're gonna have to keep it as like, PG.
They're gonna cram everything in there. I mean,
yeah.
Disney has been doing that to enormous success, in my opinion. They take every single character and they cram them. What's that Goofy one? Not literally Goofy, but I'm sure Goofy's in it. Where they basically is just like, they take cartoony versions, and there's Captain Jack Sparrow hanging out with Elsa, and Spider-Man shows up, and The Incredibles.
And
Disney
Disney
Infinity.
Yeah.
Yes, Disney Infinity. That basically has everybody and a bag of chips, and then some more chips, and then also
all the chips.
Olaf. Because why not?
Disney has some crazy connections. Like, I mean, like, even in Wreck-It Ralph, they had like everything in there. They had a Final Fantasy VII reference in there too. Like, literally, like, right in the beginning of that movie.
Aerosmith.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I was just like, I was amazed when I saw that movie, just because it was like, it had like Sonic, had Mario, had Ryu, had just everything. Q*bert. Whatever. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. There were a lot of references in that one.
Yeah.
You know, Wash was in that movie.
Wash?
Wash from Firefly.
Wait.
Oh yeah, he was in that movie.
He really?
Yeah.
He was King Candy.
Yes, he was.
Oh, okay. No, okay. I thought you literally meant like Firefly, like the character Wash.
Oh no, not the actor who I forgot his name, and I am looking that up as we speak. And my internet connection is pretty slow. There it is.
Kevin Washburn
That's the
played
character's
by
name.
Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk, yeah. Yes, right. That's correct. Anyway, but yeah, he's actually a pretty prolific voice actor. Yeah,
Really?
he's been in a lot of. Yeah, he's been in a lot of Disney films other than that one. But yeah, cool. Just random tangent on that regard. So let's see. I haven't really been playing much of any video games. I've been replaying Fallout and the exciting build-up to Fallout 4, but nothing really exciting there because I already know the game, and pretty much everyone else should by now. But let's see. One thing that we didn't discuss last time, and I thought was kind of interesting because I've been really getting into point-and-click adventure games, is Tacoma. Have you guys heard about that game?
Name sounds familiar. Have not played it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not out yet. It's going to be coming out. I don't know. It seems to be They claim it'll be a year, probably be a year and a half or whatever. But it's from the makers of Gone Home. Have you guys ever played that game? It's pretty creepy.
Game of the year last
year. It might be up your alley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gone Home. Apparently it was very good. I haven't played it because I'm not all that into creepy stuff. But this one looks a bit like, I don't know, it looks like someone took Saga, the comic book, if you guys are familiar with that, combined it with BioShock, and then slapped a little bit of Gone Home into it too. And it looks awesome. The graphics look great in some parts, and then like eerie in others. It just is really, really. Oh, here, let me explain what it is because I've just been rambling a little bit.
Boring.
Yeah, what Tacoma? Yeah, basically what it is it's the Tacoma is a space station that's on a interstellar travel, and you are one of the crew that is responsible for trying to figure things out and see what's going on. For those who are familiar with Gone Home, that's sort of an adventure of you return home and everything is just in this sort of bizarre, eerie sort of situation, and you're not sure of what's going on. Tacoma basically is that in space, but cooler with more intrigue, a lot more characters, and a lot more of a interesting concept. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. That's something that I haven't played yet, but something to keep my eye out. And the artwork is just so beautiful that just the stuff that they've been making and turning out, it's fascinated me. And either of you have never heard of Saga, right? It's a comic book that's currently ongoing. No. Well, that's a subject for another time, and I haven't been completely up to date on that one, so we'll have to discuss that in the future. But it's something I'm definitely holding my breath for, and we'll see what happens. Along with, of course, the Tales from the Borderlands series, which I am a big fan of. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm totally waiting for that series to finish just so I can play them all at once.
Oh, really? I can't do that.
That's what I do with shows in general.
They're just too good. I just love playing them. Plus it keeps I can still, use my old consoles on that, so.
That's kind of what happened with the Game of Thrones Telltale games, and I started it, and now I can't just wait for all of them. I have to do them when they come out, and that game is kind of at a point where there's characters from the show, and you hate them, but you can't do anything to them because it happens before season 5. So they have to survive.
Oh well.
So
the Game of Thrones thing follows the show.
Yeah, it's in the same universe as the show. I guess I could talk about it a little bit. The main characters you play as is House Forrester, and they're kind of in the north or whatever. They supported Robb Stark and yada yada yada. After Robb Stark, it kind of takes place right at the Red Wedding. Spoilers. And then you escape the Red Wedding, and then you go back to your home, and you have to figure out how to keep your house safe from the Boltons, pretty much. So.
Ooh.
So Ramsey
sound pretty intriguing.
So Ramsey plays a big role in that game, but it's at a point where there's certain actions that you can take against him. It's a Telltale game. It's like you can hit him or you can be submissive or whatever. But even if you try and hit him and try and kill him, it doesn't do anything because you should know by now that he has to survive till season 5. So it kind of lessens the stakes a little bit, but I still hate Ramsey so much.
The Game of Thrones really does create despicable characters, in that they're supposed to be hateable, but I think people just hate them even more than it's rational. But yeah, we'll see. All right, cool. All right, any other video games we'd like to cover before we move on to...
Dota 2 International is coming up for anybody that's interested in that.
What is that?
Huge tournament. Dota 2, the International. I only follow it just because it's just an interesting sort of business thing where the pot, I think, is at $16 million right now.
Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah. Last year, the pot, I think first place took, it's a team of 5. It's just what League of Legends was based on. Each of those players essentially got, $1 million for first place. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Man,
the way that
this games.
Yeah, like the current prize pool is almost $18 million. So a lot of that comes from just players buying some like in-game like compendium things where they like the proceeds of it goes towards the pot and the players get in-game items and stuff like that. So yeah, that's like the bulk of that prize pool is just from the player base, and then like obviously like Valve and other sponsors kind of match these like contributions to make this massive prize pool. So like I am really interested to see like how what first place is going to take this year, because it's just like these players make like more than rookie like just professional sports players. It's like it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, no
This is,
kidding.
like,
They're making more than that one like victory is more than the entire women's American FIFA soccer team makes in a whole year.
yeah,
So,
that's
wow.
exactly my point.
That's
It's just like
kind of nuts. Wow. Okay. And
Yeah.
this is kind of off topic but related. Did you guys hear about how they're starting to have concerns about illegal drug use during these games?
oh
That's
yeah,
becoming
actually.
a thing now.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know, esports are becoming just like regular sports when you have people chemically enhancing themselves. Apparently, some
Yeah.
people were popping Adderall or
Yeah.
Well,
something
they got
like
a
that.
quote.
during one of
They got a quote from that one player, and he was like, "We're all on Adderall," pretty
Yeah.
much.
Can you imagine if like if like the people who were all juiced up on steroids were like, yeah, I've just been using steroids for a while. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Really
I mean,
gets me hit those home runs.
yeah, because
Oh,
like I
man.
mean, at some point in time, because like okay, Dota games, League of Legends games, on average take about 45 minutes, and for these players, they like have to play like all day. So like I mean, it's just like I get tired nowadays just playing one game of anything like for 45 minutes. So it's just like I don't understand like how these people can do it. Like I mean, granted, yeah, they're getting streaming revenue, they're getting team team con just team pay, sponsorship pay. Like it's just a lot of money. So I mean, I guess in general they have to be up somehow. So fulfill their
Well, now we
contractual
do. Now,
duties. Yeah.
well, now we can understand that they're all popping pills, maybe. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it unfolds. Obviously, there's going to be some sort of chemical testing to see how it goes, and ensuring that people are kept to certain standards, because it wouldn't be fair for everyone else. But that is the Esports Game Commission sort of job, and if that exists, I'm not even sure if it does. But they'll be invented, so it'll be their job and see if it exists. In a slightly less intensive round on the one-player thing, let's see. For Xbox One, hasn't anyone been up to date on that sort of thing?
I don't even have one.
It's,
I mean-
it's performing not as well as the PlayStation 4, and
Oh yeah.
and has been for some time now. But what
Ooh.
what were you getting at with Xbox One?
I don't know. I'm just worried. I'm wondering if I should buy one. That's
It
the
depends.
Thing.
It depends. Like, what do you
Yeah.
want to play? Do you want to play Halo? Do you want to play Uncharted? Do you want to?
I was thinking Halo, because Halo's coming out. I was always thinking about, and of course, Gears of War.
Missed opportunity.
That's
Missed opportunity.
What was that?
It should have been Gears of 4, but it's not. Missed opportunity.
Yeah, that is a bit of a problem. But Gears of War is coming out, and I think that's going to be an Xbox exclusive. Pretty sure it is.
Yeah,
as
that's a
the last
guarantee.
ones were.
That's a
Yeah.
guarantee.
I'm wondering if I should get an Xbox One and invest in that.
If you get an
Who
Xbox
knows?
One, pick up and you want to get into the whole esports scene, Killer Instinct's first prize at Evo was $32,000. So make that money.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a
That's a start.
That's a whole lot of time to get into. I thought you were gonna say Smite.
Smite? I don't even know what that is.
Never mind. It's another MOBA.
Oh, ew.
But whatever.
MOBAs. Way past my time.
If you do get an Xbox One, some games you could get are like Sunset Overdrive. Really great game. Really, really.
Heard that's
really
good. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know if I could recommend it either way.
Yeah.
To you.
Well, maybe I'll hold off. That's what I did do for a while and see before I invest. So we'll see how that goes.
Street Fighter V is an exclusive for PlayStation. So that's something you're looking to play.
I'm really not into fighting games though. So maybe not. All right. Well, let's get away from the amazing world of video games, distracting as they are, and turn to let's see. Oh, let's talk about paper entertainment. Have either of you heard of Uber? And let me clarify, because I really realized I'm asking a stupid question. Uber, not the ride service that is the latest craze that's sweeping the nation and trying to take all of our taxi drivers' jobs. I'm talking about the World War II comic book that is created by Avatar Press. Have either of you two gentlemen heard of that?
No.
Nope.
No. Okay,
Put it up
cool.
right now.
All right, cool. It is a uber violent comic book, which is set, as I said, in World War II, where basically the Russians are storming Germany, and World War II is pretty much all wrapped up, and we're going to be taking care of Hitler. And then all of a sudden, the evil German scientists, Dr. von Braun and the like, managed to discover superpowers and start giving some of their soldiers basically the abilities of Superman, which is pretty cool, and it obviously changes how the field of World War II is taking place. It's a very interesting take on how superpowers work and how they would really end up straining and killing a lot of people, and it's exceptionally graphic and exceptionally entertaining. It's a relatively new release. There's only about 20 issues currently released. I've read about half of them, and they're very, very, very entertaining if you're that kind of person. I'm the kind of guy who loved to read Preacher and The Boys, so don't know if you guys know about those, but it's a very interesting thing that I will be following with a certain amount of interest because it is just getting started. So that's about it for comics on that gig. Everything else is a wonderful, wonderful world of Marvel and DC, but ultimately I'm getting a little bit tired of reading the same stories over and over again if they're just going to be putting them up on the movie screen. So, we'll see about that. All right. Anything else that you guys want to shout out, or shall I just keep moving things along?
We can move along. Nothing super important.
Cool. Have you guys watched the latest feature of Roosterteeth called $1 Million But?
Is it the... Tell me what they talked about. I might have seen it.
They basically, they get Bernie and Gavin and one of the rotating cast of crew that they have come in, sit down, crack open a beer, and say, imagine if you got $1 million, but, and then they give some sort of strange and bizarre condition. This was an ongoing feature that Gavin had been doing during his Let's Plays and other things, where would you take $1 million if a snail followed you everywhere you went, and if it touched you, it would kill you, but you could avoid the snail because the snail would just go at a regular place. Would you take the $1 million? What would you do?
Probably, but I mean, I know what you're talking about. I've seen some of the episodes, and and the one you're talking about, they did an RTA for, so the thing that gets me for that with the snail is like it can get you while you're sleeping. It can, and that's a lot.
Could, yes.
That takes hours. Oh yeah, okay. You have to sleep in shifts or something.
If you get on a plane, like let's say like today, like I got the $1 million, but then a snail starts following me today. So I'm going to Texas on Thursday. So if
you're going to RTX, so that should be fine.
Is he going to be on the plane with me? I don't know. This gets really weird.
You would have to sweep the plane and like make sure to check all the crevices and that sort of thing.
I would assume that it wouldn't get there. You're hopping in a car. You're getting to the airport. You're getting in a plane. Like that snail starting in Vallejo is not going to wind up in San Francisco that fast.
And then by the time like he gets to the airport, I'm already back at the airport, and I get in a car, and he like looks at me running away. He's like, "Motherfucker!" And he has to go back to Hawaii.
God damn it! I just came here.
Yeah, he's just mean and mugging you. No, that'd be hella funny. He's just waiting for you at the airport with like flowers. You just
And a sign, Yasuda, here, just right here.
yeah.
But yeah, what they do, the newest version of that isn't just animated. They actually do live action versions of what would happen, which is rather humorous.
I did see these, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, most of them are really like disturbing in nature because a lot of them are dreamed up by Gavin. So let's do a relatively tame one. That if you get $1 million, but if you want to use that money, you have to fully lick it. Like if you wanted to buy and you have to pay in cash, you can't use your credit cards or anything. So if you wanted to buy a car that was worth $10,000, you'd have to lick every dollar bill and then give it to the person. Would you take the $1 million?
No, because I'm gonna get like, if they're bundled, you can lick them on once. But I'm still not gonna do it, dude. Money is filthy. I'm gonna get like a healthy dose of like hepatitis A through Z by doing that.
No, you gotta think positively. You gotta
HIV positively.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you would just be like, yeah, it would be disgusting. And like change, it's like that'll be $10.56. So you gotta put 2 quarters, a nickel, and a penny in your mouth and swish them around and then spit them out. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. And like that was probably in some strippers like ass crack at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And,
almost certainly.
It's not.
Can you imagine
imagine
going to a strip club? You would be thrown out so quickly because you would be like, "Oh, here!" Blah. Oh God.
Sir, please stop. No, I have to.
Please, we're gonna have to ask you to leave. Oh, here. Why don't I bribe you with $100? That would be gross.
What would be?
Ugh. What would your condition be if you had $1 million and you needed to give it away to someone, but you wanted to make sure that they did it in a very amusing way? Would you guys have what would your condition be?
You get $1 million, but like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nate, I think you had something go.
I was just thinking of something ridiculous. Like, I mean, every time they like would spend it, they would have to scream something like embarrassing in public, or just, I don't know, like, just have them scream like "Aloha snack bar" as they're paying for something, and see what sort of reaction they get from wherever they're at. I think you can guarantee that they wouldn't be able to go to like a Mediterranean restaurant or anything like that to use that money.
Well, these don't even have to be realistic. Like, here's what mine would be. You get $1 million, but every time you meet someone, they slap you in the face. So someone new, and here's the catch. They won't remember that they slapped you in the face, and everyone around you won't realize. So it's basically you're getting a telepathic slap in the face from every person you meet the first time. Would you take $1 million?
Slap in the face.
Yeah, you could like try to like you would like, oh no, I'm meeting someone, so you'd have to brace for it, but like there's no escaping it. So it would be like great way to make a good impression to everyone, because you feel like you've just been slapped in the face by that person. Would you take the $1 million?
I think that's reasonable. However, if you're ever in a situation where you do customer service, that would suck real bad.
Imagine going to a job interview, or like just going to like a charity dinner, because you're a millionaire now, so you would feel obligated to like donate your money. Oh, let's meet all these wonderful orphans that you've never met, but are helping with your generous donation of $20,000. And you get to meet 20 kids, and every one of them is going to feel like you've been slapped in the face by them. That'd be fun.
Children.
Ow. Yeah. Would you take it? Nate,
I would take it.
you would take the money?
'Cause, it would hurt good. It would hurt pretty good. I mean, just $1 million is $1 million. Like, can take a slap in the face every now and then.
Oh, imagine going out to, like, a club.
Wait,
Just, like,
does the
saying,
does the face slapping stop after you've spent that $1 million?
No. As long for the rest of your life.
Rest of your life.
Yeah.
Oh.
So imagine meeting your children and grandchildren for the first time. It's gonna be like they're slapping you in the face.
Oh. I
Changes
don't know.
things a little bit.
Yeah, it does. Because it's like, for the rest of your life.
What about you, Gregg?
I think at a certain point you're just used to it.
Yeah, you probably adapt. No.
I think
your
part
face
of-
becomes
It's
callous.
part of pretty much. It's like I have like, God, that's gonna suck. But I mean, could you ever make that much money like at one time, just in one instant, like you doing that? I mean, you're pretty much set, right? At that point.
Yeah, you would pretty much be. So you wouldn't. I guess you wouldn't really have to go any job interviews anymore.
I mean, like, don't like change like your lifestyle like a whole lot, but I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it really depends too. Like, I mean, just like, I mean, I know for like my future plans, I don't know if $1 million would be like enough for like all the things that I want to do or just set up for future generations. But
well, you could invest it. It's not like the $1 million is going to just disappear.
yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, try to buy certain stock while you can. But I mean, at the same time,
stock or invest or buy. I don't know.
You know what would be worse is if like you investing this stock and then like granting it to your future generations. If this sort of quote unquote curse is like
it passes on to because I mean this is just for you. It's your money, so it's your problem. You're signing a contract for this. It's basically a deal with the devil. I would do it because, like Gregg said, I would get used to it. I'd probably go to like a face punching class or something. I'm sure those exist. Boxing. And just so you get to the point where you can just like smile and deal with it. Just like, oh, I'm gonna meet 5 people today. Here we go.
Yeah, you can just take MMA, or you can use a little bit of that money to hire Ronda Rousey to punch you.
beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Beat the shit out of you. So yeah, everything else will just seem wonderful. It'll just seem like nothing in comparison. All right, so Nate, you would take the money?
I would.
Yeah. Would take the money. Gregg, would you?
Yes.
All right, me too. All right, so we're all $1 million richer, and we just get slapped in the face for the rest of our lives. All righty. Well, that's a fun little instinct. And speaking of money, let's talk about our fake sponsor for the week. All right, for this Treehouse podcast is not brought to you by the only pizza that's good enough for the rebellion in Section 11. That's right, Pizza Hut, the one that was slathered all over Code Yes, and the inventors of the hot dog stuffed crust. Yes. So thanks again for Pizza Hut. Exactly. Yeah, so thanks again for Pizza Hut for not sponsoring us, but for indeed sponsoring the wonderful Section 11 Black Knights. All right, so thank you very much. On to our final feature of the evening, the Nerd Suggestion Box, our latest feature, which was going to be introduced last time, but we never got around to it. The Nerd Suggestion Box, or NSB. This is where one of us, that's us 3, or any of you wonderful audience members out there, managed to get someone else within here to try something that that person is either adamantly against or simply never heard of before. In our first ever session, if you remember, because I certainly do not, Gregg Yasuda somehow managed to get me to watch a few episodes of the Clone Wars cartoon. Now, to be clear, I am not talking about the old 2D rendered cartoons that were an interquel of sorts for the second and third Star Wars movie, and those were released before 2006. Those were great, very reminiscent of Samurai Jack, and fantastic. What I am currently discussing right now is the 3D computer-generated Star Wars The Clone Wars 2008 TV series that recently wrapped up in 2014. So, Gregg, since you were the one who was a big fan of the show, what were your initial thoughts?
Going into the show, I wasn't for it at all. I mean, they had initially that movie that came out that kind of sparked this whole thing that introduced Anakin's apprentice, Ahsoka, and I guess a bunch of the other clones that would play key roles like Rex and all that other stuff, and Commander Cody. But I was not a big fan going into it, but it was on Netflix, and then I started watching it, and some of the stories and some of the gaps that they fill in the lore of Star Wars were very interesting, and especially knowing that everything that's canon is only the movies and this TV show kind of adds to the whole universe in general. And especially if you disliked Hayden Christensen in any capacity, this show is probably for you, because what the show does, it really humanizes that character and adds a lot of value. His relationship with Ahsoka is really genuine, and it adds a lot of stakes to like what ends up happening in Episode 3. And Ahsoka's not in Episode 3, so ultimately it led up to a storyline that was very, very deep and heart-wrenching, of like her not being part of like the lore of Star Wars anymore. So I don't know, I'm a big fan of it. It introduced a lot of new characters. It brought back Darth Maul. Some really, really great episodes in here. If you're a fan of Star Wars.
Brought back Darth Maul.
Yes, Darth Maul is alive and kicking. Of course, I knew that from the comics, but you know that was
totally. Yeah,
but that was rendered moot because those aren't whatever. And I miss Dirge from the comics, but that's a completely irrelevant item. Not really. So my opinion, I actually watched Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the movie, back in 2007, and I hated it so much. I became incredibly angry, and I actually scared my family. That's how awful what my reaction was. I terrified my brother and my father. And yet, despite it all, Gregg managed to actually watch a few episodes on Netflix. I was pretty drunk at the time, which probably helped. But one of the greatest things that sold me was actually a great appearance by Liam Neeson, reprising his role as Qui-Gon Jinn, as sort of a Force ghost, which never actually appeared in any of the movies proper. So that actually got my attention, and I was sufficiently intrigued. So I went ahead and pirated a bunch of episodes. I legally downloaded them from a very reputable source, because digital piracy is wrong. And I found myself actually enjoying Ahsoka and Anakin's wacky hijinks, is what the politically correct answer would be. In all honesty, I don't like it. I watched almost the entirety of the full season, and I will admit it is incredibly intriguing. They do... I am loath to admit, but Gregg is absolutely correct. They do go into a great lot of detail about those sorts of things, but Hayden Christensen's acting was deplorable, whereas Anakin Skywalker actually displays emotions, once again proving that computer-generated imagery is better than Hayden Christensen. So that says something, doesn't it? But anyway, the characters are interesting. They are a little warped. They basically made Grievous and Count Dooku mustache-twirling and villains who are cackling over the latest and greatest things. And one thing that I was impressed with was how dark it got. They openly show clones getting massacred in large groups. They show a couple Jedis getting killed, which I was delighted to see that, because Grievous, in his original appearance, was a true badass. In there, he's more of a in the original cartoons.
If they actually show how he got all those lightsabers in the Clone Wars, I would definitely watch that, because in the book, Oh,
They
man.
don't. It's the one time he gets a lightsaber, it's stolen from him before the episode's over, and I was just like, what? That doesn't
Yeah,
make sense.
that story,
Yeah.
those stories, like, were badass from what I read. Like, how he
The
dismantled
comics,
all of these. Like,
the comics are amazing, and the original cartoons are just incredible.
yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and talk about Dirge now because he was an awesome character, and I've yet to see him. Dirge was basically Boba Fett on steroids in the comics. He was a bounty hunter who hated Mandalorians because he was trained by a Mandalorian and then was killed by a Mandalorian or whatever. He was basically Deadpool, but 9 feet tall and an alien and with enough weaponry and exotic stuff to make the Terminator embarrassed. And he was going up against Anakin and Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi and just beating the living shit out of them. And he would get his arms chopped off and just keep fighting. And he was just so badass. I guess they thought he was too dark for the cartoons because he isn't in the Clone Wars, and I am fucking pissed. So, you know, that's a bit of a bummer. And that was a
I'm
little
going
bit.
to tell you right now
downer.
that he doesn't show up for the rest of the show. So
Yeah, no,
sorry.
he doesn't show up. No, I know. They instead they introduced a character by the name of Cad Bane, who is apparently a tribute to like old Western cowboy mercenaries,
Oh, that
which
guy?
is interesting. Yeah. Who acted opposite of Clint Eastwood in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
I don't
And
remember.
Fistful of Dollars. Hold on. Let me. Oh, wait 1 second. Aha! Aha! I recall. Lee Van Cleef.
Oh,
Lee
okay.
Van Cleef is apparently who Cad Bane is based off of, who I am actually a big fan of because my grandfather was a huge fan of westerns and I watched it. But seriously, why do you create this brand new character when you had this amazing badass wrapped in awesome and coolness, and you just like, yeah, you know, we're just not going to make him canon, and he is left to the Star Wars legends. And I'm also a little bit bitter because all the books that I loved that were based on the Clone Wars movies are all just relegated to basically idle fan fiction.
Well,
that
yeah,
authors
because
were writing.
I mean, I'm with you in there. I read like all the expanding universe stuff about Han Solo and Princess Leia's kids and their adventures and stuff. But
Oh yeah, those were good too, and those are gone.
yeah, exactly. And I understand why Disney did it because like if you start like saying some books are canon and some books are not, then you run into some issues. If you just say none of the books are canon and only like the TV stuff is canon and none of the video games either, it's easier.
I know, none of them are. Yeah, it is, and I know that's what it is. And apparently the newest video game is going to be canon. Battlefront 4.
There's no story
That one's
mode,
apparent.
so it can't
Well,
be.
Well,
Yeah.
it'd be neat if they threw in the comic universe into there, because, like, I mean, I don't know if I'd really want to play, like, through the same, like, original scenarios that were in the first two Battlefronts. Like, I mean, like, we all know the movies for the movies, and, like, I feel like for the other fans, like, you guys, I feel like they should add a little bit more to this new Battlefront. Because, yeah, you're just essentially remaking Hoth and making it look nicer. Like, while that is cool, like, there needs to be a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's like the argument for Battlefront is like there is no story mode, but I mean it's a dice game, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really make an argument for it or against it. It's gonna be what it is, and
Yeah, and I'll probably end up buying it no matter what.
yeah.
I'm just bummed out that the Confederacy isn't in there, and 'cause I really love playing as the Confederacy.
I
And
mean
so-
the droids and stuff.
droids, yeah, droidica.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could never play as a droidica, but I could play as anything else, and their tanks were the best.
Yeah.
Battlefront 2. But yeah, anyway, that said, despite me turning around and just sort of keel hauling it, I'm going to keep watching it because it is canon and it's. I will say there are some good parts. Basically, whenever Count Dooku shows up, or the Confederacy does something enormously hilarious, or whenever George Takei shows up and does some voice acting. So that was cool.
Cool.
I'll give you a quick guide to the show. If there's anything with Padawans, like, it's kind of boring. If there's anything that focuses on the droids, like R2, it's kind of boring. Any episodes that focus on Padme are kind of boring.
They are. Oh, but you know what isn't really boring?
What?
Jar Jar Binks, because I just get incredibly enraged and want to just start punching things. It's like, oh, okay. Just when I was getting it, the best part was reason why I just skip it. The best part is just that, like, you would think after all this time, but no, they would think after all this time it's just like, oh, it's Jar Jar Binks. Everyone's a little tired of his wacky and hijinks. I mean, even Lucas figured this fucking out in the movies. He decided to relegate Jar Jar Binks to the side, and he was not as nearly as prevalent. But no, you're gonna place whole episodes on that fucking monstrosity, and it's just like, oh, hey, look, it's Jar Jar Binks again. Let's sit through another 20 agonizing minutes of his stupid, clumsy fucking idiocy. Anyway, so yeah, that kind of sucks.
Side note to Jar Jar Binks, did you guys see that, like, Michael Jackson actually wanted to be Jar Jar Binks?
Yes,
like,
I did.
Yep.
That's really, really random. Like, I mean,
it might have been better.
Yeah, like, yeah, definitely.
It wouldn't have made it worse. Oh, I just imagined Jar Jar Binks moonwalking. That would have been fun.
Yeah, like, he definitely. I don't think anybody would have hated him as much if it was Michael Jackson.
Have either of you guys seen Captain EO?
Yes.
Oh, Captain EO is so great. That was a great movie. Short movie. If Nate, if you haven't seen it,
that movie, yeah.
Basically, it's like it's basically Star Wars, but it's with Michael Jackson in it.
Yeah, go to Disneyland and you can. It's still there. It blows.
Oh yeah.
It blows my mind that it's still there, but it's still there.
Really? Oh, okay.
Mhm. Well, it was better than Honey, I Shrunk the Audience.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways,
all right.
yeah.
So, in closing, the Clone Wars is, I wouldn't say it's not worth your time, and if you're a big Star Wars fan and you have somehow managed to avoid it like myself, just be warned, it is a little addicting, and I'm probably going to watch all the seasons and then start watching Rebels for no other reason than it's a waste. It's a waste to spend my time. And
Rebels is actually really good if you get a chance to watch Rebels.
Yeah, and that's what I figured. This Clone Wars is basically Rebels, but it's the prequel to Rebels. So that's the way I'd ease my way into it. If Rebels is really good, if I can sit through Clone Wars, I'll be pleasantly surprised.
What season are you on Clone Wars right now?
I just wrapped up the first season.
Skip 2, watch 3. Hold on.
Just don't watch any of season 2?
I don't know. I mean, like, there's a couple episodes in 3 you can watch. I'd watch all the Darth Maul stuff. I'd watch all the Ahsoka leaving the Order stuff. And I'd watch the Lost episodes where, like, Yoda learns how to become one with the Force. But
well, yeah, we watched those together. So yeah.
So all that stuff is important, but some of, like, the filler is kind of stupid.
Well, the way I see it, I mean, it's one form of media. You gotta watch it, see it through the end. That's why, even though I hate them, I'll watch the episodes with Binks in them because they're part of the same product. And if you want to see something, you gotta judge it as a whole. You can't just cherry pick things.
Yeah, I understand that too. There is Obi-Wan does have, like, a love interest part of the way through the show, so it does get really interesting.
Oh, that was unexpected.
Yeah, despite, like, what he always harps, like, Anakin about all the time about he can't do that, he ends up doing that in this show. So interesting.
What?
Interesting sub-story. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's something to maybe look forward to. All right, cool. Well, that's pretty much it. Do any of you gentlemen want to put something forward into the nerd suggestion box for next time?
I think it's Nate. Nate should do this one because I kind of pushed Clone Wars on you.
All right, fair enough.
Nerd suggestion. I don't actually have anything. Like, I mean, I would, like, aside from the things that I recommended. Oh yeah, Zankyou No Terror was actually made by the same people who did like Ghost in the Shell, I believe. So I mean that.
Oh, I love that show.
That's definitely.
I love Ghost in the Shell.
That's definitely.
That was a great show.
Yeah, like it's
Okay, so
let me look that up again. It's the wait. Okay, not Ghost in the Shell. My bad. It's Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Still,
well, yeah.
I mean,
Samurai
those are
Champloo,
still.
Those are also fucking epic. So yeah.
Yeah.
I love Cowboy Bebop, and both. And surprisingly, I watched both the dub and the sub because they're entertaining for different reasons. So,
No, the Cowboy Bebop dub was definitely great. Just because, I mean, I don't know, voice actors back then were a lot more believable than they are now. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely my suggestion. Unless you really wanted to dumb it down way hardcore and watch Love Live, but I honestly wouldn't recommend that to just anyone. So look it up if you want. It's about school idols, and there's a phone rhythm game. But yeah, you didn't hear that from me. So.
Alrighty. Well, I think that just about wraps it up for us tonight. Nate Fuentes, where can we find you on the internet? Tumblr, Snapchat, Facebook?
Snapchat.
Where's the best place?
Likely.
Snapchat. Excellent.
Snapchat.
So check out Nate Fuentes. Oh, yeah. Come on, Nate, on Snapchat. And Gregg Yasuda, do you still have your Twitter?
I do still have my Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Yasuda. That's at Y0S0DA.
Exquisite. And I'm Alex Wilk. You can find me in certain places, but mostly here at the SLO Treehouse Podcast. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a great evening.